Today, we're going to be talking about Infraworks 360 and the difference between Infraworks out of the suites. Before we begin, I have a couple poll questions for you. We're going to fire one up really quick. And the first question is, what version are you currently running? Are you running Infraworks right out of the suites? Are you running Infraworks 360? Or are you currently not using either of them? So it looks like about half right now, give or take, are using it out of the suite, or you're not even using it at all. So looks like less than 10%, about 8% is actually using Infraworks 360. So hopefully this webinar will be perfect for all the people that are using it out of the suites or just flat out aren't using it. So I guess now for the 7%, I have a question for you. So we will fire up the other poll question here. And it's for those that are using the 360, what modules do you currently have? Do you have roads, bridges, drainage modules? Are you running 2 of the modules, or do you actually have all 3 modules? So, looks like the majority either have, looks like everybody has at least 2 modules, so that's good. I would believe that it's probably roads and bridges if I had to put money down. But that looks good, having the multiple modules in there. So we'll go ahead and get started, and we will again look at what these modules do in relationships to the Infraworks just in the suite. So similarities between the two softwares, you have preliminary designs, sketching and layout capabilities, proposals, create models from scratch. So preliminary designs, roads and buildings, creating trees, stands of trees. Sketching and layout capabilities, pipelines, pipe connectors. I'm able to put in structures, and I'm able to put in pipe. I still have the capabilities of creating proposals. And then, as always, I have the ability to insert individual pieces of information from scratch. So I can insert a shape file, an SDF file, a raster image, a 3D model. I can bring things in one at a time. Site analysis, line of sight. I have the ability to go to a certain area and then say select visible, and everything that I've added will highlight yellow. Great way to go to someone's backyard in your model and then have them look at where you're building and then say show visible, and you can see what they'll be able to see from their backyard based off of what you're building. And then there's terrain themes. Everyone's got terrain themes. I came in here and I'm able to say, hey, show me the low points, show me the high points. Available in both softwares. Measurement commands. I can do a point-to-point distance. I can path the distance. Range finder. Pick one point and then hit 5 different spots, and it'll show me that, hey, this point's farther away. Shading and lighting. Both have the sun and sky effects, visual effects. I can go from a clear, cloudless day to completely overcast and high winds. The storyboard. Everyone likes the storyboards. I can create a storyboard. I can make an animation out of it. Visual effects, create snapshots. Basically, jump back and forth between viewpoints. Hey, I want to look at this particular portion of the model, and I save it as a snapshot. Then I can be anywhere else in the model, and then just click on that link, and it'll automatically take me right back to it. The differences between the two. Model builder. roads module, bridges module, drainage module, and then the benefits of using the cloud. So I got the model builder here, and then I excuse me, I have the 3 icons to represent the 3 unique modules for each one. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk through each of the modules, the cloud, and what we can do with it. Then I'll actually jump into the software, and we will demo some of these modules. So the model builder, that's the first thing. Thing to know about the model builder is it went from 150 square kilometers up to 200 square kilometers in the 2015.3 release, which was just released about a month ago, right after, God, about 2 months now. It's been middle of December since it's been released. But in the 0.3 release, it will now actually take non-rectangular shapes. So before, like in my screen cap here, I have a rectangle that's north, south, east, and west. I now have the capabilities of actually putting an angle on that. So maybe like this old Shakopee Road, maybe I only want that, and I can actually put a rectangle around that at like a 30-degree angle. I have to draw it by hand. I can't just put my rectangle in and then rotate it, but I can draw in a polygon of a shape that's not running north, south, east, or west. It's running at an angle. So that's nice if, like I said, if you're redesigning a road and it's at an angle, not north, south, east, or west. Makes it easier to keep your model size down. So the first thing you do is up in the top is you give it an area. Where do you want to look for? So I give it an address, and I'll actually zoom into that spot. Or it starts with the United States, and I can just manually zoom in. Second, I give it a name down here in the bottom left. Here's my screen cap that I use from my Autodesk University class. I give it a name, whether it be Bloomington, because I'm in Bloomington in this screen cap, or if I put University of Minnesota campus, which is one of the models I'll be working with. Give it a name. 3, AU 2014 is my default group. You can create multiple groups. We'll look at that further on. But what group do you want it to be a part of? And then the 5th step is actually just create the model. And what it'll do is it'll actually go and pull data from openstreetmaps.org, and it'll tell you it may take up to 15 minutes, but honestly, I've never waited more than 5. Once I've waited more than 5, but then I got an email saying that, sorry, our servers are down, try again later. But yeah, usually it comes back within like 3 to 5 minutes. So I get a lot of information quickly, instead of having to bring in a shapefile for the roads, bringing in a raster image for the terrain, bringing in a raster image for the aerial, bringing in a raster or a shapefile for the pipe networks and such. This will actually go out and do that for you if it's available in onestreetmaps.org. Roads module. Have icon for it up in here. And then here are the 3 tabs that open up when you open up in the roads module. The first one has terrain themes, corridor optimization, profile optimization, and then the sun and the sky. You're going to see a lot of these icons duplicate, but the terrain themes, I have the ability to take my terrain and color code it by elevation. That's in both modules or suites versus 360, but the 2 that aren't are the corridor optimization and the profile optimization. These are both cloud-based services that will allow me, for the corridor, to determine the horizontal placement of a road. I have the ability within the corridor optimization to say, hey, you can't go here, you can't go here, you have to start here and you have to end there. And what it will do is it'll take your terrain and determine earthworks, and it will come in and try to balance your earthworks, and will come up with the best route for your road to take. So it's not going to make you go through the middle of a mountain if you can just offset it a quarter mile and go around that mountain. Or a river, it will build a bridge, and if it can build a bridge that's only 50 feet long versus 500 feet long, it'll take into a little consideration on that. So that's corridor optimization. It's cloud-based. You do have to use credits to use it, and offhand, I know they've been playing with the credits on how much are we going to charge, so I can't give you any exact amounts. Last I knew, it was pushing about 100 credits to run the corridor optimization. But hey, if you're starting from scratch, it might be worth the $100 instead of me spending 4 to 5 hours trying to decipher it myself. And what I get billed out at, or what you get billed out at, might be much more than that $100. Profile optimization is the exact same thing, but it's obviously for the profile, so we're talking vertical here. It allows me to take my alignment that I've already built and then export it out. It'll give me a handful of parameters I can put in. What's my max K value? What's my min K value? What's my line of sight distance and crest curves versus sag curves, and a whole bunch of valuable data that it'll collect, and it will come out and optimize the perfect, well, not perfect, but the ideal profile for your alignment. Again, it's cloud-based. It will use credits, and I believe that also is pushing 100 credits per optimization. But when it's done, that profile optimization will actually then spit out a report with cross-sections giving you earthworks at the end. So it'll tell you, hey, at the first cross-section, you have a cut of 500 feet, but by the time you get to the nth cross-section, you may have a fill of 4,000 feet. So the profile optimization, corridor optimization are nice tools to use when you're talking preliminary design. You don't want to spend a lot of time trying to fine-tune it and tweak it. You run it through these, and it will give you a close representation of what you really want, but you're not spending the time. The next one is the Draw tab, and it's pretty simple here. I can create 4 different types of roads: highways, arterial, collector, and local. These 4 roads have default values in there. Highway roads, I believe the speed limit is 65, 70 miles an hour. Arterial roads are usually 50. Collector roads are 45, 40, and then the local roads are usually like your residential streets, and those are usually set for 25 to 30 miles an hour. But what that allows me to do is if I put a curve in there, it knows that, hey, I'm on a highway doing 70 miles an hour. My curve has to be at least a 500-foot radius curve. Hey, but if I'm on a local road, I can get away with a 45-foot radius curve. I had a quick question come in pertaining to the optimization, and it was, what do you mean by credits? With Autodesk software, every seat you have is licensed 100 credits. And what it allows you to do is use those credits to then do things like this: the corridor optimization, the profile optimization. If you're using Revit, you could put a Revit model into the cloud and you could render it. Why use up your own machines when you can send it to the cloud and have it render it for you? And what they do is they just charge you credits for what you're doing. Like I said, every user gets 100 credits if you're on subscription, and usually your company's BIM manager will control this information because it's logged, it's based off of your 360 account. You do have the ability to buy more credits if you want. I think it's like $1 a credit. It used to be. A year ago, it used to be the company got all the credits, so if they had 50 seats, you ended up with 5,000 credits, and everybody could use the 5,000 credits. I think just recently they changed it that each user gets 100 credits and not the ability to throw it into a pool. But that's what credits are. It's basically, here's $100 worth of free tools that you can use up in the cloud. So back to the road modules, I have 4 different types of roads I can build, and they're pretty much based off of speed, because I could actually use a highway road style for a local road, and I could use a sidewalk for a highway road if I wanted to, but it'll be based off of speed. City furniture, coverages, points of interest, and the style palettes, those are all part of both 360 and the suites. Nothing different there. Next tab is profile view, site distance. Those are 2. I can click on a design road and say profile view, and it'll actually show me the profile view of it. So I can see that profile of my road, and I can see, oh, I have the PVI is here at station 2 plus 50. It's got a curve length of 300 feet. I can see the grade in and the grade out. It's a way to see your alignment and profile in both views, not only horizontally but also vertically. You can make minor edits to it, but we have Civil 3D to make the fine-tuning edits. This gets it close and allows it. The profile view used to be in the suites, but once they came up with the 360, they actually pulled it from the suites, and now you can only get it in the suites within the roads module. Site distance is just that. It'll come in and say, hey, you're driving down a road and you're coming up to an intersection. You can say, hey, how far can I see to the left and to the right? Well, it'll look at the terrain, it will look at any 3D models you put in there, and it will determine, I can see here, I can see there. And so if I'm at a stop sign and I'm looking to the right, but I can only see 75 feet, and that road's 70 miles an hour, is that going to be enough line of sight for me to actually pull out and not get run over by a semi? So that's site distance. Surface opacity, same thing. Out of the suites, sun and sky. I want clouds. I want the wind to come from the north at 5 miles an hour. Sun and sky. What time of the day do I want it to be? Do I want it to be at noon? Do I want it to be at 5 o'clock at night? Do I want to have the sun setting so the west side of the buildings are turning orange due to the sun? Those are all part of the suites. Again, I see the corridor and profile optimization again. Well, why did they duplicate it? I don't know, but they duplicated it. So this corridor optimization, profile optimization are the same as these 2 over here. Civil 3D drawings. This allows me to actually get 30% complete right from Infraworks. I can do a design build in Infraworks and then actually create plan and profile sheets from it just by clicking the Civil 3D drawings right here. And it will create plan and profile sheets. It will use templates that you define, and so I can have a D-size sheet with 40 scale, and it will determine how many sheets it needs. It's nothing more than view frame groups in Civil 3D, but it does it in Infraworks. So I can create quick sheets right away and have it build P&P sheets for me in a couple of minutes without ever having to go into Civil. The last one down here is Job Monitor, and that is just if I do any profile or corridor optimizations, it's a job sent to the cloud. This will just monitor the status of those jobs. Is it complete? Is it in process? Is it been paused? Or what? So that's the Job Monitor. So these are the tools within road modules, and I have corridor optimization, profile optimization, the design roads, profile view, site distance are the tools that are, and sorry, Civil 3D drawings are the tools that are available in 360 and not just the suite. I've been mentioning design roads, and those are those 4 roads. In the suites, you have nothing but create roads. So it'll put a road out there, and it will follow the contours of your terrain. But when you bring it into Civil 3D, it comes in as a polyline. Design roads within the 360 will actually, when you bring it into Civil 3D, will come in as an alignment and a profile. So I've done most of my work for me in Infraworks in Civil. So it gives me the capabilities of just having to fine-tune it into civil and not have to basically recreate the wheel. But with design roads, you have a few extra functions when it comes to the properties. The first one is the style. Pretty basic. I mean, it's the same as a create road. I can come in and change the style. I can see the length. I can see where it starts, where it ends. But then I have the ability to go into lanes forward or lanes backward, and I can actually add lanes. So if I started out with a 2-lane road, one northbound, one southbound, I could actually add another lane to the southbound. And so now I have a bypass lane, or I have a left turn lane. And I can see, oh, where do I want it to start at? Where do I want it to end at? So I could come in and add another lane and have it start at station 1 plus 00 and end at station 2 plus 50. And it will put the full length of that road between those sections, and then it will transition down for the rest. So I have lanes forward and lanes backwards. Gives me the ability to add extra lanes. Roadside grading. What they had was, in the past, they had fixed width. And what it would do is it came from center line of the road, and it would go out 26.31 feet and automatically stop your grading there. And so if I had a road that ended up being 24 feet wide and I had it 100 feet away from the existing surface, it would transition that remaining 2 feet from my back of curb down to existing grade over 2 feet. So instead of having a 3-to-1, I actually have like a 0.3-to-1 slope. And that didn't really work that well, but it's still in there. I have the ability to set a fixed width and say grade now over 100 feet. So it'll go from center line out 100 feet and it'll automatically grade. And so if I know I'm grading to right away and I know my center line is 100 feet, I can come in, center line to right away is 100 feet, I can come in and set that grading limit to 100 feet and it will automatically take where I leave off, usually top back of curb, and then it will target that 100 feet from center line. So maybe it's 74 feet, but it will always target that right-of-way line if it's 100 feet consistently. But what they've added was the ability to change it from a fixed width to then being a fixed slope, which is more common in civil because I have the ability to actually say, hey, if I'm in a cut situation, go at a 3-to-1. And if I'm at a fill situation, go to a 3-to-1. And those are interchangeable. So I could be at a 2-to-1 in a fill, but a 4-to-1 in a cut, or vice versa. The thing you got to pay attention to is the grading limit. That cut slope and fill slope will only go at that slope for the length of the grading limit. So if you always want to go at, in this case, 3-to-1 in cut or fill, set that grading limit to be about 400 feet, something that you know it'll never hit. Because if I set that at 60 feet, it'll go from top back of curb, it will go down at a 3-to-1 or up at a 3-to-1 until it hits that 60-foot mark, and then it'll drop straight down. So the grading limit, make sure that that is going to be a number larger than you'll ever need if you always want the cut slope, fill slope to hold. So those are some of the tools that you can use with a design road that you can't use with the create road from the suites. The other tool you can use with design roads is the intersection tool. With create roads from the suites, it'll come in and it'll just show you, hey, you intersected here. But with design roads, I have the ability to add an intersection. And I can come in and select what kind of car is typically going to be on this road. If it's a passenger car, I can have a tight curb return. But if I have a double trailer semi, my curb return is going to get larger because it needs a bigger turn radius for it. And then I also have the ability to add a turn lane and adjust my curb return if I pick on an individual segment. So I could actually put a deceleration lane or an acceleration lane into any corner. And then I have the ability within the properties of the intersection to extend the lane markings into the intersection and actually put the yield line down. And you can kind of see my yield line there and there and there and there because they're turned on. So the intersection tool, really great tool to have when you want to know, hey, is it passenger cars that are typically going on this road, or am I going to be dealing with semi-trucks? And will they be hitting my curb return? Bridge modules. Pretty straightforward. I had the ability to add girder bridges or steel plate girder bridges, so precast or steel. Profile view. Funny part is the profile view only works with design roads. So your bridge, when you add it, you have to add it to an existing design road. I can't just click on precast girder bridge and then click over my river and have it build a bridge for me. I actually have to have a design road first and then add that bridge to the design road. But what it'll do is with your bridge, it'll actually create the piers, the columns, the abutments, but then it'll actually show the piling underneath, and it'll calculate all that information for you. With the bridge module, I have the ability to adjust where the location of these are at. Maybe I need a 70-foot span between two of them because I'm putting a road underneath. But on the outsides, I can get away with just a 40-foot span. So maybe I got to beef up my girders in the middle because it's covering a 70-foot span. Whereas when I'm doing a 35-foot span, 50-foot span, they don't have to be as much. And as I widen those columns, it will know, hey, you're at 70 feet, and it will increase the size of your girders to match. And with the bridge module, you actually have the capabilities of setting what design standards you have. I put AASHTO in here, but there are standards all across the world. What type, precast versus steel plate. 2015.3 has come out with a few other bridge types. I believe they have a suspension bridge as an option. But I can come in and start station, end station. I can 2 plus 36.1. Hey, let's just make it 2 plus 50. 3 plus 32.56. Hey, let's just make that 3 plus 25. I like even stations. Surveyors like even stations. But the height, I can see that my clearance is 32.81 feet. I can actually show the clearance envelope, and I can then set the elevation or the clearance that I need. I know that this bridge is going to go over a railroad track that is known to carry double stack containers on a flatbed. Well, I need 22 feet of clearance. I can come in and set my clearance at 23 feet, and it'll take it to the elevation from the bottom of the bridge, and it will drop down to the surface, and I can see, do I have enough clearance, or do I need to add a PVI to my bridge? So I have a lot of control with start, stop, ending of my bridges, or what style bridge that I want. How many piers do I want? Right now it's set up to be 4. Well, maybe I only want 3. Maybe I want 6. So I have those functionalities within the bridge. But again, you need a design road first before you can create a bridge. Drainage module just was in preview in the past and became full-blown module in the 0.3 release, or recently. No, it came in as a 0.2 release. But you'll see I have terrain themes, surface layers. Again, they're in both. Create watersheds. That's nice. I have the ability to say, hey, here's my watershed. I can set the perimeter of each watershed. Quantities, I'm going to talk about quantities, but I can actually click on there, click on a design road that has pipes, networks assigned to it, and it'll actually spit out, hey, you have 14 of this structure, you have 700 linear feet of this pipe, and if I have different size pipes, it'll tell me what size, and then quantities of each. But be able to create a watershed, and then get quantities from a pipe network within Infraworks. The draw command coverages, again, it was in the roads module. It's in the Infraworks module. It's something that is always there. Culverts. If my road crosses a stream, I can put in a culvert on my road. But the road has to cross a waterway. Points of interest, rivers, water areas, all in the suites also. Nothing different than creating a polyline and it turns it into a river. Create a polygon, it turns it into a pond or a lake. But drainage networks gives me the ability to put in pipe networks. And the new thing in point 3 is that it actually generates the same parts as the parts list in the out-of-the-box catalog of Civil 3D. And so if I pick a 48-inch concentric manhole, it's going to have the same ID as it would in Civil. And then a 24-inch CMP, corrugated metal pipe, or we'll go RCP, reinforced concrete pipe, it will give me that same part. So when I bring this model into Civil, it'll actually generate a pipe network using the out-of-the-box parts list. So no more do I see just a red line coming down to represent a structure and a red horizontal line to represent a pipe. I now actually see parts that are going to have identities, so when they come into Civil, they actually mean something. And the fact that I can actually get quantities from it. So create watershed, again, a repeat, style palette, repeat. Surface layers, profile view, again, off a design road. Point-to-point distance, it's all there. A lot of these, again, are all in the suites. But they just put it because, hey, I might want to get a point-to-point distance within my pipe networks. If I have that module open, it's a little bit easier than for me to go back to another module to get it. So the drainage module gives me the ability to create watersheds, get quantities, and build pipe networks. And then add culverts underneath roads. So with the drainage module, if I have a design road, and I've picked one, selected it, I can actually say add pavement structure. And what it does is it'll all come in and add 2 catch basins at back a curb, and then I'll actually add a manhole in the middle of the road based off of these parameters. I set these parameters and then I say execute or enter. And what it does is it says I will put in a 60-inch rectangular framed 24 by 16 catch basin with a sump of 2 foot, and I have a max spacing of 200 feet. Maybe I want 400 feet. Maybe I can only get away with 150 feet. And then my manholes are a circular covered 60-inch diameter. Centerline offset, it's going to go right on my centerline, but maybe I want to offset that 5 feet from my centerline of my road, positive or negative. And then what it does is it says downstream offset 10 feet. That's from your catch basins. That's why here this one is 10 foot upstream or downstream from these. Pipes. It's going to put in a 21-inch diameter pipe by default. Well, I like 24-inch or 18-inch. Minimum cover, 4-foot bury. Drop across structure is a 1/10. So invert in to invert out will drop a 1/10. Minimum slope is 0.3%. Maybe I want 1%, 2%. I have that functionality to put that in there and then say execute, add pavement drainage, and it will populate what it thinks would be the ideal pipe networks for me. And if my design road has a sag in the middle, it will actually treat that as the low point. Unless the crest on the other side isn't steep enough or isn't too steep that it may think that it can still continue the pipe going downstream from left to right. But when I bring this into Civil 3D, it will come in as a pipe network. It will come in with the profile. And then I can make adjustments as needed, but everything's there for me already. Drainage module. And then I can calculate quantities, and in here, off the example I did, it created 6 inlets, 3 manholes, and I had 361 feet of 20-inch pipe. Can't export this out, but I can do a screen cap. But it's a way to get a rough estimation of, in 10 minutes, I need to build a road here. How much pipe am I going to need? Hey, I'm going to need 9 structures and 375 feet worth of pipe. All done in 10 minutes. Another difference between the two is what's called scenarios. And what it allows me to do is to create a scenario, and I did one of the University of Minnesota, an area of interest. I want to create a scenario that's just of a particular area of the project. And I want to create a storyboard, and I've added a storyboard in here. Or maybe I want to do access rights, and I want to show people rights. I want to say that you can look at it, but you can't manipulate it, or you can manipulate it, but you can't download it, or I can assign rights and scenarios to it, and then I can assign those scenarios to groups. And this is what I was talking about earlier with the model builder. I have 4 groups that I was a part of. My default group, my own group that I created for my 30-day trial, my group that I created for AU, and then the group that they gave me for all their sample projects. But I could create a group for project XYZ or project 123, and then I could come in and I could actually send invitations to everyone that's part of that project and give them rights to see my model. So groups, I can create multiple groups based off of project, based off of department, based off of whatever I want, and I can invite whoever I want when I want. I can then, under the administer groups, I can come in and add, remove groups, or I can determine who's in there. It's pretty much the same thing as the group membership, but it's the administrator groups. Add user to groups, I can come back in and I can pick my default group and I can add another person to that group. And then I can set up account rights. And so in my group, I am an admin, but Brian, nope, he's no admin. I don't want him to be able to add new things to it. So I have the ability to assign groups, which are great when you're going to share your project in the cloud. And now what I want to do is I want to take my project and I want to bring it up to the cloud. So I got features in the cloud. First one is publish this model. And it's going to give you any scenario or any proposals, common resources, and then the ability to do scenarios. Once I publish it and it's published, if I hit that again, it now went from publish this model to Infraworks to actually sync model changes with Infraworks. So it knows it's already in the cloud, and now it will actually take the changes. So if I publish it to a cloud and I assign a group, project XYZ, and Nate gets into my project and he adds another proposal, he resyncs it, and then I'll actually get a notification to resync my model, and I'll see it, and then I'll actually see his proposal into my drawing. It's a way for us to communicate back and forth between each other when he's in San Francisco and I'm here in Minnesota, and the project's in Kansas City. Publishing to the cloud and then syncing once it's already there. And then there's also what's called design feed. And what this allows me to do is, that's the little chat icon there. It allows me to actually put my model up there and let the public see it. And I can actually put comments in there, and I can allow the public to look at my model and comment on it. Oh, you should have done this, or you should have done that. Well, some models you don't want public. Some models, it might be fun. I mean, like my model that I'm about ready to show is of the University of Minnesota's Twin Cities campus. So it's something that I have no reason to hide anything, so I could actually publish this publicly and allow anyone to comment on my model. And then not only once I've published it, but I have the ability to take my iPad, use the Infraworks app, and I can actually load that model on my iPad, and I can be on site at the project walking through my model as we go. Obviously, you're based off of your GPS within your iPad, and that's usually plus or minus 50 feet, give or take. So if you're trying to walk through a building and you're in the front room, but the GPS thinks that you're in the back room, well, you're going to run into a little bit of issues there, but you're still close. It works really great when you're outside. So it does. It gives you the ability to view designs without the need of a desktop software. I don't need to take my laptop out into the field to look on this. I can take my iPad out there. And it allows me to view project models and scenarios on the go. Again, I don't need my laptop to walk through the construction site. The one thing I will note is that iPads typically only have a 1 gig processor. So Windows XP used to be 4 gigs. Now we're talking, my laptop has 16 gigs of RAM in there. iPads only being 1 gig, well, most of your models are going to be typically 800 megs to possibly 2 gigs, depending on your size. So if you run a model that is larger than a gig in file size, it might have a little bit of graphic issues. I've seen one where they had 50 wind turbines out there, but you only saw 20 of them because graphically it just couldn't show everything. So just keep that in mind on what size model, the size of your model, and then is it bigger than 1 gig? Because if so, your iPad may run into a few issues. So let's actually jump into the software really quick. And I have the new screen for 2015.3. If you're running any version older than that, it's going to look a little bit differently. But I see my roads, bridge, drainage packages. I'm on subscription. But the corridor optimization is a preview. Suitability maps is also a preview. And I have them turned on. But if I want to create a model builder, it's right here. And there's model builder. I'm not going to jump into that because I've had that first slide. It's pretty self-explanatory. I have my models. I can see all my models right now is showing all groups, show all, so I see everything. Home, here's my manage groups. So here's my groups if I want to manage them. Here is my manage online models and scenarios. So here it'll populate every model for my default group at Scott Mizak right there. I don't want to waste the time going in there, but I have all my models and I can see that this is opened, duplicate model, I can delete my model. Last time it was open, 2 days ago. And then some of them are just cloud-based that I need to download, that they're actually not stored yet. I'm going to go ahead and open up my University of Minnesota one. And here is my model that I used out of Model Builder, and that took 3 minutes to build. Well, minus TCF Bank Stadium. I found a 3D model through Google Warehouse or Trimble Warehouse that I brought in. So it took me 5 minutes to build this. But through Model Builder, when I hover over a street, it tells me that, hey, this is East Riverview Parkway. Let's see if it tells me this is the green line for light rail. Zoom in enough to hover over it. Oh, that might have been a road that I put in myself. Here's Kaufman. It tells me that this is Kaufman Memorial Student Union Commons. It will tell me if that GIS data I had was in there, it's going to tell me what it is. And so I can come in and hover over here. Nothing on that building. Oh, there's Stadium Village Flats. So I have that capabilities of seeing what road is it, what building is it, right off of Model Builder. But this is pretty nice model based off of 3 minutes going to OpenStreetMaps. But what I want to do is I want to build a quick road, and I want it to be a design road. So I'm just going to come in and build a collector road, pick what style I want. I'm going to go street with sidewalk, and I'll just quickly put in a road right there. And there's my road, real basic road, single street with sidewalk. Or actually, I think I actually just put in a sidewalk. Style. Yep, I just put in a sidewalk. That's why it was so small. So I'll quickly put in that one. Now I have a 2-lane road with curb and gutter and sidewalk behind. But it's a design road. If I came into, oops, draw, road, and just put in that road, and I look at convert to design road, but properties, that's what I get. I don't get anything. But with the design road, I get my extra tab to allow me to change those styles. Now what I want to do, oops, quickly come back, build another collector road, and I'm going to click from here. Try not to make you sick by moving too much. I'm going to add a new road, and I'm going to join the two up. Because it's a design road, it automatically knew that I crossed water and automatically added that bridge in there for me. If I would have done a create road, it would not have put a bridge in there. It would have put a road, and it would have followed right on top of the water. But what else it did was it created the intersection for me. Now I can come in and say that this intersection needs to have a bigger curb return. Or maybe I need to add a turn lane. That looks pretty decent. Let's come in, click on our road. Oops. Key is when you want to add a bridge or add like pipe networks, you need to be in the geometry tab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add a bridge. And I'm going to add a bridge from here to here. There's my bridge. Automatically put it in. I have my ground transparent so you can actually see it. Now I could add a PVI and lift that up, so now I could have a walking path underneath there. But that's just by clicking on the road and saying add bridge. But I could have come into the bridge module and then said add bridge and done the same thing from here to here. To pick on my bridge, right now I got my road, but for me to get my bridge, I actually have to pick on the girder. So I got to pick on the side. And now I have all the capabilities of my bridge, the properties, precast, start station, end station, the height. Everything that I need is all right here, and I can manipulate it. Last little cool tool in here is under the drainage. And if I had water coming in here, I could actually add a culvert. And anywhere that it crossed a river, it would add a culvert. But drainage network, what it wants me to do is pick, you can see, click and place a new inlet to connect. So I can actually come in and manually just drop in, oops, click there, and I could put in a pipe network right there, and if I look underground, there is my pipe network that I have the capability of bringing it into Civil 3D as a pipe network. But that's doing it manually, and I hate doing things manually. We're now coming to the point where we have to do everything automatically. And right here, it's add pavement drainage. Click on that, take my parameters, enter to execute, And I picked a small enough road, I hope. And it came in, and I put in structure, structure, structure. That's the one that I put in originally. There's my other structures. So if I look at it, there are my catch basins, my manhole, and you see I had a small issue with my catch basin, not knowing that there was a road there, but hey, I can move it. Put it there, and then I can rotate it. There's my pipe networks. Now, I put it in, and let's look at quantities. Pick my design road, and it is telling me that I will need 17 catch basins, 7 manholes, and I will need approximately 1,200 linear feet of 20-inch pipe. That quickly. Now, here's my roads and all that. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually close out of Infraworks because I find that this works the best when you're not in it anymore. And I'm in Civil 3D. I had my Twin Cities campus was in Hennepin County, U.S. foot. My drawing is in Hennepin County, U.S. survey foot. It's a blank drawing. With Service Pack 2 and 2015.3, I had the ability through my tool space to actually open an Infraworks model. And I can come in and I can say execute. I can pick my model, and I'll pick University of Minnesota campus, and I can actually say open model. And this will take about 45 seconds. So while it's doing that, I'm going to answer a couple questions. First one was, hey, can you demo the design road options? Well, hopefully I did that. I didn't show the profile view, but all you have to do is click on the design road and then click profile view, and it will show you the profile view of it. What software is required to view projects? Basically, you just need Infraworks or Civil 3D. I can bring this in to Civil 3D. Now it'll actually bring in the SQLite file. In point 2 or earlier, I used to have to export out an IMX file, but I could still open it up in Civil. But the app on the Apple iStore for Infraworks, I can view it there. Next question. Do the people in the groups have to have Infraworks 360 to view the shared model? Yes, they do. All it does is gives them the ability to see, to gain access to it, to see it in the cloud. But they will need Infraworks 360. And yes, for roads, there are tunnels for styles. There are tunnels for railroads. So you can add tunnels. I built one, oops. So here's my model that finally opened up. And here is the Twin Cities campus. And here is my alignment of that road that I just built. Unfortunately, it's called name 807 because I never gave it a name. But over here, I took the Washington Avenue bridge and I actually converted it into a design road, and now the alignment is actually called Washington Avenue. So I give it a name, it gives it the alignment. I create a surface profile out of it, and it's there. All with 360. It's made taking preliminary conceptual design, taking it into Civil. Now I'm not having to backtrack. Everything's there. I have an alignment. I have a profile. I have the capabilities of creating P&P sheets. I have the ability to create pipe networks. Prospector, pipe networks, drainage networks. Here is my network that I just brought in. There are all my pipes. There are all my structures already in there. That's what I have for you today. Oops. So I answered a lot of the questions already as I was waiting for the Infraworks model to open in Civil. Looks like I got a couple more. Can you model people, vehicle moving from one place to another? Yes and no. Yes, with the fact that 2015.3 now allows city furniture, which is our models. So you can get people, you can get cars, but they allow them to be animated. In the 2015.3, you do have a wind turbine that is automated. So when you place it, the blades will actually spin. You can go out and animate through SketchUp. You can take a 3D model and you can animate it yourself. My understanding, it's a pain in the butt. But you do have the capability of bringing in 3D models that are already preset for animation. As of right now, can I put a car on a road and have it animate down that road? No. Right now, it's a predefined path. So I can put a boat, I can take a Coast Guard, a rescue boat, and I can put it in the middle of Lake Minnetonka, and I can have it do circles. But I can't have it change its path once I bring it in. So there are some models out there. I've seen some videos of flags that will flap back and forth so it looks like the wind's blowing. I've seen a boat that will rock back and forth so it looks like waves are hitting it from the side. I've seen a group of ducks swim in circles, and I've seen a train just shoot off in a straight line. So yes, you can model people and vehicles in there moving, but it's a set path that you can't say, hey, follow this design road. Roundabouts, next question is, can I model a roundabout? Not that well yet. It's getting a little bit better. You do have, it's still a little lagging, but it is in the works. I thought it was going to be in the 0.3 release. It looks like it's held off a little bit. Hopefully, in the near future, it will be, roundabouts will be a design style. Well, it looks like I got time for one more question. Can you start with the proposed surface from Civil 3D versus OpenStreetMaps? Yes, I can actually export out my surface in Civil 3D as a land XML, and I can bring in a land XML file into Infraworks. I can export out my surface as an IMX file. So I can export out IMX, and then I can insert an IMX file. So if I have a surface that I know is good, it was actually surveyed with survey-grade equipment, I can bring that in as my starting point. Yes, OpenStreetMaps, it's typically using the USGS website, so it's national, or it's national, so you might have plus or minus 3 meters in your surface. Well, this is preliminary conceptual. It's trying to convey an idea, but so to get earthworks out of it, it's not going to be the best. But if you have a surface, again, created from Civil 3D or from something that's more localized, by all means use it.